Hey, everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com, and welcome back to our tutorial on Gatsby. So just to kind of remember where we are at, we want to be able to see Markdown files, and at the end of the last video, I was kind of confused because I wasn't able to find them in the GraphQL queries, yet I thought I saw them in there. And the reason is because I was looking at the wrong project. While Gatsby was installing, of course, I had brought up a previous project I did where all the plugins were already installed, and I just got confused. So just to understand sort of what happened between videos. So we need to install the plugin so that we can actually see the Markdown files. So I showed you like the plugin configuration. It was configured for a different project. So that's the first thing we need to do. So we're gonna go through our documentation here. So this is the section where Gatsby tells you how to configure it for Markdown. So first thing we need to do is find the source file system, which actually I think we're pretty sure we already have. Yep, Gatsby source file system. So all we really need to do is configure it for Markdown. Okay, and I'll just copy and paste it from over here. So there it is. Okay. Copy. Okay, and then we just basically want to make the comma here. Let's make sure that this is all matching up right. Yep, that matches up with that. So then I really want to put this here. So I gotta make sure it's a separate element on there. And now this says source Markdown pages. I don't think that's the exact directory that I set up. So let's just double check how I set it up where we left off. Source pages MD. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do MD because that's easier to remember. So I'm gonna save that. So basically now Gatsby source file system will look for Markdown pages in this folder. So that's done. So now it can find the files, but it has to be able to read and transform the files into something useful. Okay, so that's where we're going to need the Gatsby transformer remark. That I do need to install. Okay, so let me go down here to my terminal, plop in npm install Gatsby, and it's going to just install that real quick. So I'll let it do that for a moment. So while it does that, we're going to have to configure that plugin as well. So let me go get that and just put that in there. And that's going to be where we did file system. So this is going to be the remark here. Copy. And that's going to come in right after we do this. So I want that here. There we go. So then once that's installed, that's configured. And let's see here. We already have a Markdown file, and again, this is like the front matter. So you can put at the top of your Markdown file, you can put in pretty much any kind of key and value that you want, and it'll be able to be looked up as front matter, which we'll show you in just a moment. Okay, we'll come back to that part in a moment. First, this main goal I want to do today is really show you how to generate your queries. So let's just make sure it's all installed. Yeah, it's still installing. Okay. Looks like it might take a while, so I'm going to pause this while that finishes installing. Cool, so it's done installing. So now we should be able to see our queries in here now, or at least our remark. So I'm going to refresh it. Now let's see here. All files. Again, this is always kind of a hunt. Total count. Check out public nodes. File. I think there'd be like a little search feature, but alas, there is not. Just check one more thing. Let me go look at the docs, see if it just kind of points me in the right direction. No, probably a little bit further down. Oh wait, right here we go. So we're looking for something like mark, because essentially here's what we're gonna do. You set up a page in your file, and to get access to that information, you're gonna put information like this, which is really just saying, hey, this variable equals the results of this GraphQL query, which this is the GraphQL query right here. So let's see here, Markdown remark. Let's go. So there should be something called Markdown remark over here, and I am not seeing it, so we may not have it completely configured yet. Let's see here. New packages, npm fun for details. Let's save this. Do we still have that file in there? Yes, we do. So let's see. Well, a quick update while I'm trying to get this loaded up is the issue is I have to restart the server because every time you start up the server, it actually basically crunches all your config files. But I had some. What happened is that I forgot to put the pages part in the URL here, so I had to rerun it again, and here I am. So hopefully this time we should be good, and we should have the server up and running, and we can go look at the GraphQL queries. So it's going. So far looks so good. Let's see here. Are we good? I think we're gonna be good. And we're back. Okay, so the server's up and running, so let's take a look. Let's refresh the GraphQL Query Explorer. And let's see if we have my Markdown stuff now. And yes, see, here it is, Markdown remark. Okay, so now we sit there, we can break that down. Okay, Markdown remark, front matter, title. Let's see what happens when we run that query. Hey, and then we see at least we have the title for that first post. But we want more than that. We want, say, the HTML for it as well. Okay, and then there's the HTML for that in that first Markdown file. And there you go. You got a query that gives you the information you would need to, well, create the information you want. Okay, so that's basically the step where that's kind of how you use GraphQL. You use the Query Explorer, you create the query that gets you the information you need, and then you can just basically plop that query onto the page. And again, it's going to end up being in a format like this: export const page query equals GraphQL. So you can put that on any page you make on your website, you know, this little piece of code, and it'll make that particular information available. So we'll make a blog page, and then we'll just put in this query and just basically iterate and make our blog post. But we'll do that in the next video. But I just want to make sure we kind of got underway on, one, making sure the Markdown was configured, and two, that you were able to query everything just fine. But if you want, you can start putting in more information in there, start exploring what's inside the query builder, and seeing what kind of information you can find. Because it gives you, that's a cool thing about Node, it makes a lot of different types of information available to you through the GraphQL query builder, that you can do a lot of really cool stuff. So I'll see you guys in a bit.